Hey, Terry Troyer, station coordinator, right here at 91.1 WHFC. We'd like you to join us for our spring membership drive, March 6th through the 13th. You can join us by pledging. Pledge what you can. We really appreciate every dollar that you give us because it goes right back into our student learning lab, and that's where we train all of our future broadcasters here at 91.1 WHFC. Pledge right now. Again, the spring membership drive, March 6th through the 13th. WHFC911.org is where you want to go. And thanks for your help.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch
It's probably the least sexy part of work. No. The truth is,
Wendy contacted me because we had a podcast recording we were supposed to do, but we're recording in January. Weather plays tricks on you, does all kinds of stuff. So we scheduled another recording, and we have a young lady here, Amy Harding, that Wendy told me, said, well, you need to get her on. So, of course, you all know Wendy tells me to do something, I do it.
That's right.
Whatever.
Smart man.
So I said, okay, well, yeah, if you can get her on, let's do it. So I'm going to sit back now. Again, I'll ask some questions, but I'm going to turn it over to the host.
I'm still the co-host, but yes, thank you. Yeah. So what happened, honestly, is that last September, Harford County has a drug symposium that brings together a lot of the resources, nonprofit and for-profit businesses in the county to go over like drug addiction, treatment, sober living, all kinds of things. So Amy and I met there. She was a resource table and Rage was a resource table. And recently I got a chance to go to the location that she has for the nonprofit, which is called Ethan's Hope. And Amy, what's the full name of the organization?
It's Ethan's Hope, Paws and Hands, Rescues and Recoveries.
Okay. And I had never heard of it.
I could have just looked at the hat.
There you go. And what exactly is that? I want to ask you to explain.
Sure.
I guess the mission first of all.
Yes. Well, we started the program in 2023. And it was actually my son Ethan struggled with addiction from the time he was 16 until he was 23. And he was not a fan of rehabs. He also struggled with bipolar depression. And when he was in rehabs, he had a hard time sitting still. And it just seemed like a lot of the programs out there, unfortunately, were just counseling after counseling, meeting after meeting. And he just had a hard time with it. And one day he came to me and said, Mom, I don't want to go to rehabs anymore. It's just, they don't work for me. I'll do anything else. And he said, but my best days in rehab were dog therapy days. And he said that when the dogs came in, he just had this calm come over him. But he said the problem is that there's one dog or two dogs that come in to 30 guys that were in the rehab. And he said, I'd really love to start a program that for my peers that brings together hard to adopt shelter dogs with those in substance abuse recovery, bring them together for training. So that at the time, it was just men. His focus was on men in recovery. Right. So that we could train the men to train the dogs. And the idea of it was that addiction is a very selfish disease. Mm-hmm. So through addiction, the desire is to get your next fix. It's manipulating those you love around you. to help get that next fix. It's not saying that they don't love their family members. It's just the addiction takes front and center stage. So the idea was the hard to adopt shelter dogs are the dogs that society has thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
They sit in the shelter. They're at risk for being euthanized.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What makes a dog hard to adopt? What are you dealing
a lot
with?
of times in shelters, when dogs come in, they are so afraid
Mm-hmm.
or they've gone through some type of trauma, whether they were abused or whether they were a stray and, foraging for food, starving. There's so many different reasons. So that by the time that dog gets into the shelter, they don't know they're safe. They don't know that they're going to get a meal every day. They don't know the people that are coming in to help them. They're strangers. So it's anywhere from just fear to some people when they drop a dog off at the shelter, they're embarrassed for, a good reason. And they don't, to save face, they'll say it has a bite history or it was aggressive towards my child or whatever. And if that shelter does not have enough trainers to assess and work with the dog, which a lot of shelters don't have enough trainers or enough time because they're so overwhelmed, that dog gets it's labeled like hard to adopt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're not advertised to the public. And those dogs are the first dogs that are at risk for the euthanasia list.
Plus, the shelters also have a screening process that they go through, or at least they should, where I know the humane shelters do. They have a screening process. If somebody wants to come and adopt a dog, they got to make sure that family is
A good fit.
is a good fit for that dog, because not everybody is. And unfortunately now also with the dog, I want to say the dog fighting rings, back in the day, people were going to adopt dogs strictly for that.
Yeah.
So it's a process. It takes some time now, but you're starting. The good thing is you are seeing some people start to adopt the older animals and have dogs and cats.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get more of that. But for Ethan's vision, he wanted to work with the dogs that society has thrown away. He said, because that's the dogs that we connect with, and we meaning he and his peers.
Right.
And at first, when he said that to me, my feelings were a little hurt because we're a very supportive, loving family. So I kind of felt, hurt that he would say he felt like he was thrown away.
To society.
Yeah,
not necessarily to the
right.
family.
He just, with a lot of people that are in active use and even when they're in recovery, they just feel very judged. And a lot of it is their own insecurities that they're projecting, out onto the way that they feel. So being a mom that had for years lived in fear of losing her child, anything that my son showed interest in, I jumped on board.
Yeah.
And so did his dad. And so did his brother. Like we were, oh, you want to do this? We're all in, So I went back to school to get certified in animal behavioral therapy, specializing in service dog training.
Oh, wow.
Just so that when we started a nonprofit together, we would have the credentials behind it.
Smart.
We knew nothing at the time. We just wanted to help our son.
Right.
So in that process, there was a relapse. Ethan relapsed, went to another treatment, came home, and his father and I said, you know what? We've tried everything else. Let's move. Let's get him out of his sphere of influence. So at the time, we had lived 25 years in Bel Air in Harford County. So we moved to the Poconos. That's where That's where I grew up, around Lake Wallenpaupack and the Poconos. And so in my mind, that was far enough away that, he couldn't just walk down the street to find his drug of choice. And it was close enough that my husband could still commute back to Baltimore, where he worked at Johns Hopkins.
Okay.
So we went there, and that's where we really, Ethan and I just dived in, and he picked a shelter that he wanted to work with. It was actually a dog rescue. And he picked that one because it was very hard to adopt dogs. Like, they were dogs that even the owner of the rescue said these dogs will never get adopted. They're just here basically so that they can live out their lives. Right. When I was introduced to these dogs, I really thought the dogs, like some of them, if they got out, they would have killed me.
Oh, my.
But Ethan was adamant that that's the rescue he wanted to work with. So we spoke to them, got them on board. He chose the rehab to work with, which was a men's rehab called Little Creek Recovery in Greentown or Newfoundland, PA. Wonderful rehab, wonderful staff. They just very caring rehab. I wish I would have found them years ago. So we did all the legal documents together, just so that, Ethan was really, passionate about this.
Yeah.
And then as many people that are struggling with substance abuse around holidays or birthdays or vacations that are coming up, those are triggers for them. Mm-hmm. We were 3 weeks away from the program starting, like the active program starting, and he relapsed and lost his life. That was the last time for him. And he was 23 years old. It was May 7th of 2023. So in our grief, his family and I were broken. Mm-hmm. So in our grief, it's how we survived. We just were very determined to still start the program. And even though we had, a couple months delay, not even, we started it in July. So we just went full in, and it wasn't until the active program started and I started seeing these men partner with these dogs and the effect that it had on these men that I understood what my son was talking about. And I'm very proud of him because the program worked very well. These men were clearly broken when they got out of the van from the rehab because in the PA program, the rehab would transport the men and we would meet them at the rescue location.
Okay.
So, and I would train the men to train the dog after we had partnered them with one dog. So they would work with the same dog every time they came.
So how did the partnership go? How did you marry them up?
So because the rehab was, or the rescue was already chosen, I went every day to get to know the dogs and work with the dogs, assess the dogs, see if any of the dogs were trained at any length before we brought the men from the rehab over. So I knew the dogs pretty well for about 2 months before the men came. And I also met with the men a few times at the rehab location. And so, if it was a older gentleman that was more of a couch potato, I would partner him with a dog that was more laid back and wasn't that a fan of hiking,
right.
Right.
And then if it was a younger man that just loved hiking and just loved the outdoors, and I would partner them with a very energetic dog. Now, I introduced all the men to all the dogs, and I just watched the interaction. I just watched to see who had a connection, watched the dog's body language. And every single man that came on that program from day one, they all gravitate towards the hardest dogs to adopt. And they really relished and thrived in the challenge of earning that dog's trust.
I think the reason this is successful, and I know a lot of listeners are probably wondering about this, and this is my thought on it, and I want you to chime in. Because you can have, your regular dog at home, the family pet. But these guys, and even Ethan, may not have had that same connection with the family pet as opposed to one of these dogs that you're bringing, from the shelter. Because just like people, everybody is different. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these guys, when they're with these dogs, it's helping them, but it's also helping the dog.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was saying before about addiction being a selfish disease, this is the first time in years for some of them that before they come to the property, they know that all these dogs were at risk for euthanasia.
Right.
And because of them, because of their selflessness of giving of their time, of their, taking time away from their day, even sometimes on the Sundays when the football games would come. These guys were giving up that time to come and work with their partner dog. And they understood that because of them, this dog was not only going to have a longer life, but be trained, be socialized, lead a healthier life, and get a chance to find an adoptive family that, it's a second chance, which is what they all want. So, and without that man joining the program, that dog wouldn't have that opportunity. Right. So it really, we saw their pride grow. We saw their self-worth grow. We saw men that were angry and fighting with each other at the rehab. Once they joined the program, they were celebrating wins together. They were congratulating one another. They were becoming friends, becoming a family. It really turns into like a family group. And then how our program grew so fast was because these same men would go back on a new type of high that they had from working with these dogs and celebrating wins with each other. And they would start talking to the other men in the house just about their day. And then the next time that they would come, there was 2 more guys on the van, So it was pretty cool to see that. And one of the reasons why the program is still running there, but we were growing too fast there, and we didn't have enough. We didn't have our own location, which was key. We learned because we were learning as we go. This was the first time.
The program is still working there. Is it still under Ethan's Hope?
It's under Ethan's Hope. Yes.
So you have an employee that trains, or
the staff at Little Creek Recovery is so amazing, and the staff that was bringing the men also were in recovery. So they enjoyed it so much, and they were upset that we had to move. So they expressed that they wanted to still do this program. So they still, that staff brings the men, because the men are new every 28 days. Some are still in the program if they're in their sober living house or in the area. But they are brought to a shelter that worked with us as well. So, which was cool. So it's not exactly how the program that we first started runs, but it's still something for them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we decided to move back to Maryland, where
before or after he passed?
This was after. So we never started an active program when Ethan was alive. He died 3 weeks before the active program.
Gotcha. Okay.
So once we were there, and the woman who owned the dog rescue also had a rescue farm. And as more and more people came, I think she was just getting nervous because this was her property. And we built outbuildings up there for her and the men, because it's a 2-hour session. So really, you should only train a dog about 15 minutes at a time, because that's their attention span, or they'll get, we don't want them to get bored.
Right.
So in that session, they'll train 15 minutes, 20 minutes of training. They'll socialize with the dog. They'll take the dog for a walk or a hike. If the dog's if there's dogs that get along together, they can have like playtime. And then there's always a 20-minute give back at the end of the session. So the program is completely free. So we just ask that at the end of each session that the men and now women will be in the program at the end of the session, just give 20 minutes back to the farm of their time,
Right.
whether
In some
it's
way.
mending a fence, cleaning up your dog's kennel, whatever is needed.
Right.
And that also gives them a sense of doing something selfless, and we're building it together. So I don't say it's our program and you're here, you're just joining. It's our program together that we're growing together. And it's working very well. And so we're just starting the new location. We bought this property in Cecil County, September of this year.
Okay.
And so we're in the process of, we have a few dogs there already, but we're in the process of finishing one outbuilding, building new kennels. And it's almost 4 acres of property.
4 acres.
4 acres in Cecil County.
It's really
in
impressive.
Rising
Yeah.
Sun.
That dog's got a lot of room to run.
Yeah, there's 2 big pastures. There were horses on the property
Okay.
before we purchased it. And when men and women join the program, they're not just people who have been struggling with substance abuse. They are now labeled as trainers when they're on our program.
Oh, wow.
So from day one, they partner with their dog, they become trainers, and then if they're in our program for more than 45 days, then they're senior trainers. And that's just to, give them that high five, like you're doing awesome and you're being promoted. It's a reward, and they're very proud of that.
Now, here in Cecil County with the new location, how do people get referred to the program?
So once we went to the symposium, the Harford County Addiction Recovery Symposium in September, word spread quickly. We also, on our social media, had followers from people that knew Ethan, that knew us from visiting treatment facilities and talking about it. So word of mouth it's spreading quickly, which is great. So we're like in rush mode. We want to get all the buildings finished. But it's not only, it's not limited to rehabs. It's also sober living facilities, or if you are in recovery, there's 2 stipulations that we have. One is we need a commitment because that's healthy for the dog,
Right.
not only just for you, but 3 to 4 times a week. And it's 2 hour, like I said, 2-hour sessions. And the other stipulation is that you have 3 other touches in the week with some type of recovery program. So we don't want to be your only recovery program.
Meetings, IOPs.
Right.
Yeah. So any type of touch, just 3 other touches, because we want to be supporting your recovery. We don't want to be the
Only.
only
Right. Gotcha.
point of recovery.
Now, are you guys working with another shelter, or are you also like a foster home for the dogs?
So this is kind of, we had the idea of just working with the shelters so
Okay.
we can pull dogs off of the euthanasia list.
Right.
So we are speaking to Maryland SPCA. We have a couple other shelters that I won't mention until we get the go ahead. But we've had meetings with a lot of different shelters. There are people that call daily that want to go into recovery, but they don't have a place for their dogs, so they can't go into treatment. So we've had a couple people that we've said okay, and we brought their dogs to the property. But we really, that's not how the program works.
Right.
I mean, my heart has a hard time saying no,
Right.
I'll
Right,
be
yeah.
honest.
And we've had women in our houses that have left because someone couldn't take care of their dog any longer.
Yeah.
Or
So
they
that
didn't
that
come
type
to treatment.
Yeah,
because
that type of program is really needed. So if anybody
Yes.
out there wants to
Someone
start a program
mentioned
like
it one
that.
time. There was a woman in our house, and she really wanted to explore
Yeah.
that because one of the reasons that she left is that she had 2 dogs, or I think it was 2. And so when someone couldn't watch them anymore, she ended up leaving. But she's fine,
Yeah.
doing really well. But that was something that she was considering. I don't know if that ever happened.
And some people don't understand why we don't do that more often. But when you think about our program, you're doing this for a dog that needs a second chance at life. And without this program, they wouldn't have that. So if it's a man or a woman in our program, the feeling towards their the dog that they're partnered with, that bond that grows between them, is going to be very different if it's a dog that you're just basically babysitting for someone else.
Right.
So, and these bonds are very strong. And every single person, once they bond with that dog, they ask, well, can I adopt this dog?
Yeah.
And the answer, unfortunately, is no, because we want to keep that idea of you're doing something selfless for this dog. So you're not socializing and training the dog for yourself. You're doing it for another family so that they could connect with this dog, and this dog has a second chance.
Well, and then that brings back the role of being a trainer.
Yes. And then once their dog is adopted.
And can I back you up for a second? You said that the dog has to typically be able to do 7 commands before they're adopted.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's 6 to 7 commands.
Okay.
Now, an adoptive family could come in after you've taught them 3 commands, and we give them the option of, okay, we can fill out the adoption paperwork and you can leave the dog to finish the training, or we're not going to say no to an adoptive family that fits.
Right.
The fit is judged by the trainer. So it's not just me. An adoptive family like Wendy, if you came and you can say, I saw this dog, I'm very interested in adopting it. Well, that dog's trainer will be the one to sit and talk to you about, okay, what is your living situation? Are you in an apartment, or do you have a fenced-in yard? Are you active? Are you a couch potato? So are you
home all day? Or are you at work all day?
Will this dog be kennelled when you're not there? And then that trainer will come to me and say, okay, Amy, or they call me Mama Bear too. But okay, Mama Bear, I met with Wendy, and this is going to be a great fit. We would schedule a time where you could come, and they would basically train you what they've trained the dog, all the commands, tell you everything you would need to know about this dog, and then basically hand over the leash.
Aww.
And that's very symbolic that they've accomplished what nobody else could. They found their dog a wonderful home. And then they could be partnered with their next dog, and they could stay in the program for 5, 6 years, 10 years if they wanted to, as long as they have 3 other points of recovery.
How? Because you always hear the phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. How hard is it? Because you say you get a lot of these older dogs, but how hard is it to teach them 7 to 8 different commands?
Well, it's not that we get a lot of older, like old age dogs.
Right, but
we just get dogs that have never been trained or trauma dogs. It takes a lot of patience, and some of these men have just sat on the outside of a kennel enclosure, doing Scrabble, just talking out loud, reading a book, so that the dog can get used to them first, and they very slowly earn that dog's trust. And once you see this hard-to-adopt dog find the joy in a person,
it's like it becomes a puppy again.
Yes, and then joy in, there's joy in being walked. There's a joy in that leash. There is a joy in getting praise from my person when I do what they're asking me to do. There's joy in walks. There's it's your
The dog is learning to live again,
right?
just like
Absolutely.
recovery.
That's why I never
Absolutely.
agreed with that phrase. Always, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I never agreed with that.
Yeah, I just think there's some very stubborn dogs that just take a
Yeah.
while longer and some patience.
Right.
Yeah.
I gotta go see this, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking
You're
at
welcome
one of these,
anytime. You're
Well, I
welcome
went
anytime.
and you had the 2 dogs that you were babysitting, as you would say.
Yeah.
Are they still there?
They're still there.
And then you had maybe 3?
We have Poppy, which is a dog that we actually brought from the other program. She was a trauma dog, very fearful, would not go by anyone. It took me 2 months to just get her to earn my trust. There were men in the program that worked with her, and she's come so far. And when we moved, I knew that she would be put back into a kennel and not have a lot of
Was that the little black
socialization.
dog?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So Poppy's still there waiting for her trainer to come. And so we actually, at the moment, we have 6 dogs. And hopefully that will grow into more dogs. We're the max amount of dogs that we want on the property at once is 13 dogs because we don't want to be a dog warehouse. We
Right.
want this environment to be healthy and healing for the dog as well as their trainers. So we're not going to overload the property with dogs.
Why did you come up with the 13? Just the spaces?
The space that we had, and we could have gotten more outbuildings, but I just didn't want that.
Right.
I wanted the environment to be calming,
Intimate.
We built a huge fire pit in the back pasture so that we're opening it up for any NA groups or AA groups that want to come and just have like an intimate setting.
Oh, wow.
If trainers want to bring their NA or AA groups there, they're more than welcome to have their dog at that meeting too. But yes, just keep it more intimate and just focus on healing. Our tagline is healing lives at both ends of the leash.
Oh,
So we want to stick with that.
I like that.
So, do you guys work with any other nonprofits besides the animal rescue or whatever?
No, I wouldn't say. We like to say we're partnering with any like Rage Against Addiction.
Right. Yeah. I want her to do a workshop of some sort.
I want to go and talk to the women in the house about that, just and open it up to them. So any rehab or sober living out there, they're more than welcome. I'll go and talk to them.
And individuals can also.
And individuals,
yes.
Yep. So anyone can call me. And I will just put them on the calendar, schedule a meeting with them, then talk about the commitments that need to be made to join the program. But again, it's 100% free for
that was
them.
my next question, because it is not 100% free to take care of a dog.
No,
Right.
it's not 100% free for us.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So explain a little bit about that. Like, are there funding streams for you guys? I know you did have a fundraiser. I wasn't able to come. I guess that was before Christmas.
Yeah. Our goal is to have 3 big fundraisers a year.
Okay.
But where we really, where there's a great need and how we're going to keep growing is that we need monthly sponsorships. We need people to commit to, I don't care if it's $10 a month or $100
Yes.
a month. It's something that would be very much appreciated. We will be blessed for anything that you could give. And you would be receiving also monthly updates on the partnerships that are on our location. And we take videos and pictures, and because we want our not everybody can do a monthly sponsorship. We appreciate one-time gifts as well. And if you can't give, we understand that too. A lot of people have other passions that they're that they want to give. And I totally understand that. But we would love you to follow our pages and just follow along and keep us in your prayers so that we can grow. And because we're not doing any of this alone. And I've said this to other people is that some people think I'm crazy doing this at our age. I'm
I
50.
think it's smart. I don't. You're the first one I've heard of doing anything like this.
We're actually the only program in the country that are doing this.
Sounds like
That's
it.
probably why you're the only one I've ever heard of that. I've heard of
Yeah.
horses and all,
It's
but
very unique.
Yeah,
It really is. I mean, it was
the closest thing I could compare it to is like the pit bulls and parolees.
Yes.
I know there's a couple of programs that
okay.
go into jails to partner
actually,
dogs.
I know somebody that they got their dog. It was trained by an inmate.
Yeah.
And a great dog.
Yeah,
great dog.
I think those programs are great as well. There is not a program that matches hard to adopt dogs with those who are in substance abuse recovery.
Have you encountered any dog that just wasn't receptive to the training?
Not yet.
Okay.
Thank God. The dogs that we've worked with, like I said, I'm going to give one example. His name was Mr. Bones. He was a giant Dalmatian lab mix.
Oh, wow.
For as best as anyone could guess.
Right.
And he was a very scary dog.
High strung.
And he was found in a freezing rainstorm starving.
Oh.
And we don't know his history before that. He was very aggressive. He was very protective of his kennel environment.
Mm-hmm.
He was very food aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that dog knocked me on my rear a few times, just by lunging at the kennel.
Wow.
And I think the thing that saved me is because, when I first lost my son and I was in deep grief and just going to introduce myself to these dogs, I didn't have any fear.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't care what happened to me in that time.
And they could sense that.
Yeah, and I sat with this dog and I had patience with this dog. And even when I was brave enough to put my hand over the kennel and just see if he would let me pet him, it was a win for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't struggling with substance abuse. It was just like I instantly felt like, wow, I did it,
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw men in the program do the same thing, it just meant so much, to me, to them. And the whole program, just watching these men heal, was a salve to my heart. Because I'm still grieving. I'm still in deep grief. It's been 2 years. And I love all the people in our program. The love that I used to shower on my son, I now shower on these men and women. And my husband.
I'm sorry. How many people
okay.
are currently enrolled?
Only 4.
4. That's
because
a lot,
we're
though.
still building.
Right.
We're still growing.
Right.
And getting ready. But my husband, Ethan's father, and I'm telling you this because he shares it all the time, but he's 30 years in recovery.
Oh.
And so when the men first, come in and they have to learn, they have to earn, I have to earn their trust just the same way as they're trying to earn the dog's trust. And we really wanted to create an environment that is completely non-judgmental for these men and women. I want them to feel loved every time they step foot on the property. I have prayed for them before they even step foot on the property for their healing process. And I hug everyone as soon as they come in the property. And at first, the guys were real stiff, like, who is this lady, and then I hug them before they leave.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was seeing was after, a week or so, the guys would kind of wait. They wouldn't get in the van right away because they knew that they were waiting for the hug. And they just had that support system. And not that they don't have a support system in their family. Some do. Some families are practicing the tough love. So they're doing the distance thing, which I totally get to. Believe me, I've tried everything through Ethan's journey. And so there's no there's no perfect recipe for recovery. There's no perfect recipe for a mother and father to deal with a child or any family member that's going through
Right.
that. But I just know that these people, we all need love.
Mhm.
We all need.
Well,
A hug
I
can
see
go a
such
long way.
I see such a I guess it's like almost like a mirror image of the person in recovery and the dog in recovery, because
Absolutely.
you're showing like this kindness, and you're, almost
Yeah.
to the dog, just even being able to touch the dog, which is something that they are not used to or
Right.
resistant or aggressive towards. And you have the person in recovery who feels so isolated and feels so hurt, and they kind of are coming together. And it's really beautiful. It honestly is.
Yeah, and it took a good 6 months to start seeing what my son had the vision for. And I'm just very proud of him. My husband and I do not take credit for this. We give all the credit to our son and to God for just showing us his vision and seeing how it works. And it's just magical. I think dogs are magic. They have like a healing magic. And once they bond to their trainer, it's just amazing to see this dog, Mr. Bones, that was so fearful that he looked like so aggressive. He looked like Cujo,
So what,
And-
do you get updates on the dogs or like that have been adopted?
Mr. Bones has been adopted. The dogs in PA, the first program that we started, those dogs were adopted, and they continue to work with dogs, and they're now adopted through the shelter.
Okay.
But I'm excited to see that start to happen here. And we may have a dog for 2 months that is being trained, or we might have a dog that's with us for a year
Right.
if they just need more patience.
Right. Not unlike sober living.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Some people come in and they're ready to go right
Yeah.
away. And some
Right.
people you know,
Right.
stay the course
Yep.
and they benefit. It's more of a benefit for them.
Exactly. And there's no time limit on it, and we don't rush them. And the program's not for everyone. Not
Right.
everyone likes dogs, and some people find a new passion in training. And we do give, we write job referrals for people that have been in the program for 3 months, and they can work. So it gives them an option for a career as
Yeah.
well. We encourage them to take classes. We just support them. The whole time that they're in our program, we just support them, and it's not just to our program. We just support them in their journey.
It's well-rounded.
Right.
Yeah.
If they're having trouble with their family, we just are there for them to talk with, and they start to get another perspective. They start to see their mom's perspective. Well, why is my mom not talking to me? Or why is so I give them the side of the mom, and my husband gives them the side of the dad, and Ethan's older brother can give them the side of their sibling. So, and that takes time too. We have to earn their trust
Right.
and realize, like, okay, well, they're practicing what they're preaching of non-judgment and unconditional love. And my husband's is an amazing man who has patience, and he will sit down with these men and teach them how to do a checkbook and teach them how to get their driver's license, because some of these men did not know and did not have family to teach them. So he
A
kind
lot of that
of
stuff's not even taught in school anymore,
Right.
especially the
I don't think
checkbooks.
it
Right.
ever was.
Checkbooks?
Yeah.
It was when I went to
Not
school.
when I went.
so
To the wrong school.
Apparently.
yeah. So I mean, and even if they were taught in school and they're not really remembering or whatever, it's just Al's great. He just we'll sit down and talk with the guys and go on a
That's
hike
good.
with them when they take their dogs. And we still stay in touch with the majority of the men that have gone through our program, just so that they know that, you know, if you have to go back to another state after sober living or rehab and you can't physically remain close to the dog program, we don't cut you off. We
Well,
still
and you're
want to
learning
be
a skill too.
Right.
You know, you're learning something that
Absolutely.
you can carry on in your life, even if you get a pet. Even if you don't work in that field, but you get a dog, you're going to be a better owner.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, you said you're the only organization like this in the country, right?
Yes, and there's been other states that have reached out to us and they want to do what we're doing in their state. So they basically want us to tell them how
Right.
to do it, which I'm all for if you want to do it yourself or if you want to be under the Ethan's Hope
Right.
umbrella.
Start other chapters.
Yeah,
that's a
so
good
we
idea.
just want to make sure this one's running like clockwork before
Right.
we branch out there.
Have you reached out to any of the like dog food companies or the big, because, well, let's face it, you always need dog food. So if anybody wants to donate dog food, they can do that, right?
Yeah.
But have you reached out to any of the companies or even some of the pet stores, like whether it be Petco or whatever, about sponsorships? Because you're the only one in the country. And I think a lot of them would jump on it.
I have not, and that's a really good idea. I welcome all ideas. So
It's hard
All
to
the
execute
ideas
every
for you.
idea.
Yeah,
right?
we're pretty young. We're
Yeah.
a pretty young program, and like I'm just now learning about all these grants, and you know, I'm not a grant writer, and I can't afford to hire one, so I have to learn
And a lot
as
of
we
those
go.
companies
Yeah.
offer grants.
Yeah, so I'm going to look into that. And if there's anybody out there that can help, wonderful. Reach out to me.
Well, because I'm thinking that the other thing, I'm also thinking you have 4 acres. Fundraisers are important. You can't you can't rely on grants, otherwise you're not going to succeed. But with 4 acres, it's something that our Lions Club used to do, was a pet festival every year. I mean, that may be something you might want to look into.
Yeah, as long as our Cecil County government's okay with it. We did have our first fundraiser for this location was held in November. This past November.
Right. Yes.
And that was a great turnout. We had a lot of fun.
She kind of is experiencing a little bit of what a rage experience with, like, not so much, you know, the NIMBYism, not in my backyard kind of thing, even though it's very, very, very different. People just don't necessarily always understand what other people are trying to accomplish, especially in the recovery world. So unfortunately, you know, we all have to deal with that on some level.
I try to remind myself that when someone comes at me aggressively or with the attitude not in my backyard or with an eye roll or whatever the case may be, it's because they hear the word addiction. It's not so much as the dog rescue or fostering. It's the word addiction. And I just have to remember that when somebody's so negative about it, I just have to say, okay, well, I am so happy that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Because
Not everybody does.
Not everybody does.
No.
And that's okay. I just, you know, it shouldn't be this hard to do good in the world.
But too many people still have that mentality that, oh, that would never happen to our family. That would never happen here.
Right.
Yes. It had, and we've said it before. Addiction doesn't have a face.
Right.
It can happen anywhere to anybody.
Yeah.
Technically, you think about it, I'm just going to go on addiction overall. Everybody has an addiction, some type of an addiction. But what we're seeing here, especially when it comes to substance addiction, it's probably the biggest one out there. And people just, just open up your minds and realize it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
I just
At
love
any
the idea
age.
of
You know, it's not just a bunch of teenagers.
Well,
I
even
mean,
with newborns now, you think about, because if somebody gives birth but they were still using or whatever, they've already shown that the newborn can be affected by it.
Right.
You know, but I'm excited about this.
Good.
See,
I want to
good
get
again,
people.
Wendy.
Yay.
I want to get people excited about it.
It is.
And-
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, you know, okay, I have a dog, which everybody knows. I have a dog. He's my first dog ever as an adult. I got him. He's 13 years old now. I had no idea how to train him. He trained me. You know, and he's a good boy. I mean, he is. He's my longest relationship with a man.
Yeah.
And and over time we kind of learned to, live with each other, just because he's a very stubborn breed. He's smart, and he, wants it to be his idea. So, when you don't know how to train a dog, you don't know.
Sure. And when you don't know how to train a dog, dogs are very smart.
Yes.
So they know, well, okay, I'm just going to sit here and be stubborn.
They know what they can get away with.
Oh,
They're
sure.
like little kids.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely makes a dog more adoptable when someone online is seeing our social media and they're seeing what this dog can do.
Okay, so you didn't go over this because I think we went in another direction. What are the commands? Tell me the commands.
So it's sit, it's stay, shake, lay down, go to your place, and heel.
Go to your place.
Yeah, so which is great. So if somebody's coming to knock on your door or you have company,
Yeah.
they look like little yoga mats basically. So it's something that anyone can get. We send them with the dogs when they're adopted.
Like a little piece of carpet or something, or is it?
Yeah, well, we use cut up yoga mats, but anybody can use at home if you're training your dog. You can use a piece of carpet, anything.
Okay.
Something that the dog will know
Is there?
Right.
is their place.
A lot of people use a crate.
Yeah, somebody can
But I like
use
that
a
better,
crate.
go to
There
your
are
place.
dogs that need to be crated that are destructive if you go to work, whatever. But it is training them, go to your place, so that
I like that.
when the doorbell rings, go to your place. And what we train them on the location will have to be reinforced in the home. Now we have our vision for the barn that's on our property is part of that is going to have a TV and a couch so that during the downtime of those 2 hours, if they want to go and watch TV with their dog, so the dog will get used to a more
family,
home
right, a home
environment.
environment.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant for the dogs because I was going to say that.
Oh,
No, I was going to say
For the
that's
dogs
a
to
great
watch
idea
it.
because
Yeah.
dogs love to do that.
Yeah, sure.
do.
And
Well, to hang out with their trainer.
yeah, and some people don't like their dogs on their furniture, which is fine. But a
Try to
dog
stop
that's
it.
being adopted from our location,
Yeah.
they're going to
Try
be,
to
a
stop
couch
it.
friendly dog because
But there
that's
are
where
dogs
they
that just
bond.
love to watch TV.
My kitty cat was
Yeah.
watching it the other day.
My
Yeah.
father had a boxer that he got from my younger brother, and my father trained this boxer good. That dog would know every time when Walker Texas Ranger would come on. Seriously,
Okay.
he would. Because the one time my sister was down in Florida watching, and the dog is barking like crazy. My father's in bed. And my sister asked, my father's like, what is wrong with Bowser? Well, do you have Walker on? It's like, what are you talking about? Well, you got to turn on Walker Texas Ranger. It's time for Walker on. He wants to watch it. Turn the TV on. He was fine.
Yeah.
Dog also needed his ice cream too, and had his own pill. I mean,
Yeah.
dogs.
They become part of the family.
Well, they
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
family. They
Yes,
are family,
yes.
and that's another thing I wanted to bring up because I'm glad that the people aren't allowed to adopt the dogs, and here's why: is because they grow that attachment to that dog, and if that dog passes, they may relapse again, and that's something you don't want to see happen.
Yeah, that
You never know. I mean,
Well, you don't-
there's all kinds of reasons for
Well,
that.
there are, but I mean,
Yes.
a dog is family. I mean, I've seen people when they've lost their dogs, it just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
devastating.
I've lost some dogs, and I mean, I've had dogs my whole life, and when they pass, it's heartbreaking.
Oh, it is. It's the last dog I had was probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And growing up, I've always had a dog. And I had to have her put down. I couldn't even take her into the vet because had just had that attachment.
Yeah.
Something with rescue dogs. I don't know what it is, but she was a rescue.
I always say that rescue dogs, they have this appreciation that is very tangible.
Yeah, it just, she was, oh, man. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So tell us where we can find out more information about Ethan's Hope.
So you can we have a website page that's ethanshopepawsandhands.com. And on our website, you can.
.com or .org?
.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And through our website, then you can find our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and that's the website is the website.
Mm-hmm.
Not much has changed besides addresses since we started it, but our social media pages like Facebook, Instagram, you'll see videos and pictures of the dogs and their trainers.
I just saw the new dogs. I was like, oh,
yeah,
I liked it.
And you guys are a 501c3?
We are, yep.
Okay.
And we do, if there are people in recovery that, they've tangled with the law, some get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in our program, we have written letters to judges. I've gone to court and sat there and spoke, for our trainers that are in our program, because people need to be reminded that someone that is actively, reaching for that second chance and committing to a program like ours the judge needs to see that.
Well, and I think that we have realized that there's not one size fits all recovery.
Right.
And, you have your treatment and then you have your IOPs and the actual, I always call that like the stabilization. When someone gets into recovery, they're kind of like, okay, they're under protected sobriety and then they get to leave and it's their choice to pick what they want next. And there's not really that many options. Sober living is, I think, a wonderful option. I think that a lot of people can benefit from it. If you're not in a rush to get back to something, of course, if you have kids, I understand that. But, starting over, you need to give yourself the grace to be able to do that. But as far as like different options for recovery programs, there's not that many. So you're inventing something that's a whole, like equine therapy's been there for a while, but it's not, to my knowledge, as intense as this.
Oh, you're going to be getting calls at the wazoo, I think.
Oh, that's good. That's good. We welcome it.
You're going to need to write like a guidebook on how to do this.
I am in the process.
Oh, come
just
on.
so that I could hand it to
the trainers.
Well, no, to hand to the other states that have been asking
Gotcha.
about it.
Yes.
Because I don't want, anybody can do this, but it's easier for them to have the guidebook.
Yeah.
So I'm, like I said, in the future, we're very open to having them come under the Ethan's Hope umbrella. But if any organization wants to do it on their own, I would hand it over easily, because I hope that I hope it's in every state. I want people to have access to it. I'm seeing I only get to see a small number of people that are in their recovery journey that join our program. But I know that there's millions out there that just need this new path of hope, because there's so many, just like my son, that the standard, program that rehabs go by. I'm not saying anything negative about them because they do work. They've been proven to work.
Yes.
It just wasn't something that captured my
Well,
son.
and let's just, take a little bit of a look at what you're saying here. A rehab, like I said, that's your stabilization. That's where you go. That's where you go to detox, to understand your disease. Right. It does not cure you.
No.
It does not. It's what you do after that, kind of like aftermarket on a vehicle, like what pieces do you need to fix what's going on? Mm-hmm. And, again, in sober living or equine therapy, regular therapy, this type of program that you're doing. And then we have,
canine therapy.
Canine therapy, maybe.
Well, that's technically what it is.
Yep. And then there's farm-based recovery as well, which we have one in Harford County. I'm not sure you're familiar with them or not. And different people respond to different things, and animals are a big deal to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really think that a key to recovery is finding something that you're passionate about, finding something. And some people, it's like changing one addiction to the other. Some people get addicted to going to the gym. Some people get addicted to religion. Some people, it seems like if you dive into something that I see longer recovery periods from people. And I believe that we're all here for a purpose. And just like how I feel now, if I have to be in this world without my child, I need to have a purpose here. And my purpose is I want to uplift people. I want to help the people that struggled like my son. And if I wasn't around and my son was here struggling, I would hope that other people would want to uplift him and help him through his journey. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Okay.
But my son saw something that he knew would work because it helped him, it calmed him. Mm-hmm. It obviously didn't save his life, but he hoped that this program would save his peers. When he would stay in a rehab, because he left rehabs early or he would, go missing. When he would stay in a rehab, it seemed like those times he stayed because he felt someone else in that rehab needed him, whether it be to make them laugh or, just to hang out with, or that was his heart.
Right.
So I'm just determined to keep this program going, to keep it growing, to share it with other people that they can do it wherever they are. And a lot of the men that were in our PA program and had to go back to other states that were far away are volunteering at their local shelters doing what they learned how to do while they were with Ethan's Hope. So
do they receive any kind of certification? Do you have you created like something?
Not
just
certification.
For you, like an Ethan's Hope's, you're a certified Ethan's Hope trainer.
That would be a great idea to do that. The only thing that we've done so far is the referral letters about their time as a trainer with our organization,
right? Which is basically the same thing, but okay.
And we also sign off on community hours that are needed for men and women.
Well, that's good to know, too. That's good to know.
Did you want to do the last question thing?
Sure. You want to do it?
Oh, you want me to do it?
Oh, I don't know what the questions are.
Oh, no, it's easy. Do you have anything to add before we get to the last question?
No, I just want to thank you both for this opportunity and thank everyone for listening. And if it's not with Ethan's Hope, just find something that you're passionate about that you can donate to, whether it's through finance or time, and just find joy in every day by uplifting someone else that may be in need.
And where do people go again to donate or become a sponsor?
So they can go to our website at ethanshopepawsandhands.com.
Is N spelled out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in the title of our name, the ands are the symbols.
Okay.
And if you're on just want to find us on Facebook, it's Ethan's Hope, Paws and Hands, Rescues and Recoveries. And you have to type out at least Ethan's Hope, Paws and Hands, because there's a lot of other Ethan's Hope organizations out there.
Okay.
So those of you listening, do so. All right, this is easy. Pick a number between 1 and 100.
23.
Really?
Yeah, that was the age of my son when he passed. So
Okay, this is just too
For
weird
over
because
23.
the last person I had on picked that number too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Maybe it's a lucky number.
It might be. I might have to look to see if it's an angel number.
Maybe.
Really? 23?
You want me to go with another one?
Come on now.
All right, so what's a part of yourself that you're still exploring or trying to understand? And actually, with everything going
think it's
on,
good.
that's a good answer.
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing that I'm exploring right now is how grief can affect my faith. I was raised in a Christian home. I am a Christian. I believe in God and Jesus and heaven, the promise of heaven. And when I lost my son, I was very angry with God. I, questioned my faith until I realized, okay, well, if you're still screaming cusses up at God and fighting with him daily, then, he's there and he's listening. And my grief is still very raw, but even in my anger with God and questioning my faith, I can see how God is putting all the puzzle pieces in place to allow this program to grow. The people that he puts in my life, like you two are a perfect example. Rage Against Addiction, people that work with Wendy also helped. Even though that their focus is on women, they were so gracious years ago when I knew nothing on resources, giving me resources, helping Ethan get beds in rehabs that probably saved Ethan's life at the time. And to be sitting now doing a podcast with Wendy Beck, the founder of Rage Against Addiction,
My claim to fame.
But I mean, that's a puzzle piece to me. That is God, working and making something that was a horrible tragedy in our lives, in my family's lives, and now seeing because of Ethan's vision, even though he's not here, he helped so many people through his journey. And this was his vision. And I never would have thought of this. This was not what I wanted for my lot in life. My husband and I want to retire and travel, and we're going to be doing this. But because of everything that's happened, I have such a strong desire and motivation in my heart to help those that are struggling with the same things that my son did, whether it's addiction and the combination of addiction and mental illness, and helping other families that are just starting their journey with a loved one. That I remember that feeling of not knowing anything, not knowing who to call, where to go, what to do. So to be able to be a sounding board for the newbies in the addiction journey is I can't say anything else but that it's God working a tragedy for good. And I know that I'll see my son one day again. Sorry.
Oh, well, we appreciate you coming in here. I know it's hard and it is very, raw, like you said, and it does get better. It shifts. It doesn't mean that you're not going to miss him. It doesn't mean that, he wasn't somebody that of great significance in your life. But when you have this greater purpose, it was given to you for a reason, because someone
Absolutely
knew that you were going to be able to do it. And I believe that wholeheartedly because I would have never imagined myself in the situation that I am. And still, even today, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. But, you know, there's a purpose that behind it that keeps the organization going. And it's not always easy every day.
Yeah.
And I still cry. I sat at your dining room table and I cried my eyes out when I was there. I was like, oh my gosh, it's been 10 years and I don't allow myself to do that. But it was a safe space.
Yes.
And, you know, and I appreciate
I want to create
that.
a safe space for everyone that steps on our property. And I'm going to keep fighting addiction so that another mom doesn't have to bury their child or another sibling doesn't have to, you know, get married without their best man, you know?
And we talked about this when I was there. And the tragedy of it is that it affects generations to come in your family. You know, we're still healing from it. You know, you're going to heal from it for the rest of your life. Yeah. And it's going to look different each day.
Yeah. Ethan's girlfriend at the time found out she was pregnant 3 days after Ethan passed away. And now Ronan is going to be celebrating his second birthday tomorrow.
Aww.
And to see that little man walk around this location and play with the dogs and just, you know, first thing he gets up in the morning and we have 2 dogs that their mom is in treatment right now. And their names are Scooby and Daphne. And the first thing he does when he wakes up is Scooby, Nini, like he just wants to go down and see those dogs. And Ronan is going to know his dad through this program. Mm-hmm. And he's going to know his dad because he might not have his dad, but he's got, you know, 36 men that ask about Ronan all the time. And he's going to meet women that are going to love on him when they're at our location. And it's Ethan's legacy, and it's in Ronan, and it's in this program.
Thank you for listening to the Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together. And my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com. The Joppatown Lions Club. Serving the community since 1965. Visit them at joppatownlionsclub.org. And don't forget the E at the end of Joppatown because they're extraordinary.